why? Will we discover it? Join us to find out.
We have gathered this day to have a respectful debate on a very important question we all have wondered once. Is the world completely material? We will try to answer it at the best we can by giving valid arguments on both sides, against and in favor of it, hoping to get to a common understanding.
At first, materialism, also called physicalism in philosophy, the view that all facts, including facts about the human mind and will and the course of human history, are causally depend upon physical process, or even reducible to them. There are different types of materialism theories. Mechanical materialism is the theory that the world consists eternally of hard, massive material objects that, though perhaps impressively small, are otherwise like stone. The theory denies that there are a material or apparently immaterial things, such as mind, for example, or explains them as material things or movements of material things. Type distinguished by the deviation from the paradigm, type distinguished by its view of history. The main attraction of materialism is the way it fits in with a unified picture of science.
My name is Frida, and I'm part of the group that is against, with my partners Areta Martinez, Sofia Loaiza, and Lupita Ponce.
Jasmine, Isabella, and me, we are in a favor.
Materialism claims that everything is physical. Everything can be described and explained by physics, and uses what we see, what we hear, and what we are able to touch as foundation. But applying Descartes' perspective about reality and knowledge through the argument of the dream, the information obtained through our senses isn't solid data. So how can we rely on something that could be mistaken or dismissed easily?
Well, Democritus said that the world consists of atoms. These atoms can be impressively small and interact by impact or by Hawking, depending on their shapes. So his atomic worldview takes into account common emotion and ethics. Think about it, perception and thoughts are physical, made of atoms. This type of thought is called atomism and is based on the ability to explain change in things due to change in configuration of unchaining atoms.
Another thing to mention is that Democritus and Leucippus thought that the atoms were impenetrable, indestructible, and eternal.
For Plato, it's with our body that we capture the sensitive stuff, but it's with our soul that we are able to grasp the non-sensitive, the ideas. If we can know something immaterial and eternal, Plato considers that our real soul must have some connaturality with the ideas. Our soul will be different from the matter, indestructible, incorruptible, immortal. He carries on the philosophy of Socrates, when he preferred dying before doing harm to his soul, was justified by Plato by arguing that our soul is immortal and therefore worth more than life in this world.
Yeah, but Democritus says that the soul consists of smooth and round atoms and that perception consists of movements causing the actions of the soul by the atoms of the thing perceived.
Also, according to Pope Churchland, the folk psychology, which claims that the existence of the beliefs, the desires, and so on, is wrong because it can explain a lot of important phenomena, and it's very difficult to integrate with other well-established and possible scientific theories. Finally, and I quote, only those entities which are necessary postulates of our best theories are worthy of being called existing.
But on the other hand, one of Plato's thoughts was that reality has mainly two dimensions. We have the world that we perceive with the senses, with all the things that we can see, taste, hear, smell, and touch. And we have the world of ideas, an immaterial world. Ideas for Plato are the transcendent foundation of all reality, and things that change are not fundamental.
Now, I also have to mention the fact that primary qualities, which are the characteristics you can't argue, like shape and extension, and the secondary qualities such as taste, smell, and color, which are subjective, are linked. So you cannot imagine one without the other. Taking an apple as the example. You can't picture one without color, and if so, you're probably giving it the transparency attribution. So we cannot claim the existence of matter itself, only perceivers.
But you have to remember that our brain and our nervous system is responsible for producing emotions and reactions to stimulus. For example, the stimulus could be if a person loses an important relative because they died, the reaction of their brain is that it stops producing the appropriate level of serotonin, which produces that this person experiences insomnia, panic, irritability, and anxiety. Another example could be when someone steps on your feet, it hurts because your nerves, which are the cells that send and receive information, send signals to your brain about what's happening, and your brain makes you feel.
Plato noted the diversity and change in things. Leaves fall from trees, animals are born and die, even we change. In that material world of the senses are difference, change, multiplicity. Thus, physical things are not fundamental. So Plato wondered if our mind is able to grasp something eternal and stable. Whatever can resist change is fundamental reality. Ideas are eternal. Plato Symposium 210. Thus, the world of ideas, an immaterial world, is fundamental reality.
Yes, but as Democritus said, everything is composed of atoms. Those are made by the brain, and the brain is composed of atoms. Thoughts and ideas are produced by movements of atoms, as you can see, are material.
Moreover, the explanation of why the universe exists could have a non-physical origin. For example, the explanation why a certain horse exists is that two other horses were bred with the result that they caused the new horse to be conceived and come into existence. Thus, the cause of the universe must be greater than the universe. 1. Whatever begins to exist has a cause. 2. The universe began to exist. 3. Therefore, the universe has a cause. Think of the universe, all of the space and time. So, the cause of the universe must be beyond the space and time. Therefore, it cannot be physical or material. And this immaterial cause could, for example, be in Berkeley's eyes due to a God, an infinite spirit. Think about it.
Well, you have to know that evolution proves that we are material. And all life on Earth evolved from only physical materials by only physical processes. And that means that we couldn't develop non-physical properties. Let's think about it this way. If we come from the monkey and the animals don't have a soul, how can we develop non-physical properties? If our natural origin is formed on purely physical materials, there's no way that we can have, own, or be non-physical things.
But if we take Berkeley's most famous principle, to be perceived is to be believed. It was used in his metaphysical posture to support his idealist stance. As I see it, what we perceive are just sensible objects, collections of primary and secondary qualities, and we form pictures of these. But they are nothing more than ideas in the minds of the perceivers.
Your thoughts are in your head. They are located in a single place, so it also has a size and is at a distance from another physical thing. We must remember that only material things occupy a space and have physical characteristics, therefore your mind is material. Apart from all this, your mind can move with you. You can have thoughts in Mexico if you are in Germany, therefore your mind is linked in a physical way to you.
I think that the world is not based on material, and Berkeley proves it. Empirism tells us that the human mind is a blank sheet of paper that we fill with knowledge through experience. Therefore, experience is the only true thing. Likewise, the experience of matter does not exist. Everything is an impression of our senses, as dictated by immaterialism, which states that things that you do not perceive do not exist. For something to be something, it must be perceived.
Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. It is difficult to imagine things that you haven't seen and that don't have something related to anything real by themselves, such as smell, sounds, or texture. For example, if you want to think of a color that doesn't exist, your brain goes through a process where it identifies the colors that exist and discard them. You can find a new color because you are only thinking about those that exist, and then you can see it before it doesn't exist.
Also, I would like to mention the theory of the three substances. Descartes defines substance as an existing thing that requires nothing more than itself to exist. That of the body that possesses the attribute of extension, and of the souls that possess the attribute of thought. If we think about this definition, we will see that it is only applicable to God. Through the distinction between infinite substance and finite substance become necessary.
Yes, but if your mind and soul are composed of atoms, they are material and they can move with you, as I said before. Now, talking about God, you believe that He exists, and that belief is made by the thoughts you have in your mind. Therefore, God may not exist or may be materialistic.
Yes, but Descartes recognized two independent worlds. The material and the spiritual were completely independent. The body and the soul are determined by God. Descartes attributes to matter its own creative force and considered mechanical movement as the vital manifestation of matter. He said that the body is the reasoning by which any thought concept can be about, and the body equates it to think, and says that if you don't think, you don't exist. It says that the senses lead us to wrong things, and the thoughts only lead us to the truth.
Barely conclude that the God exists and that we will have demonstrative knowledge of this. Since God will be the cause of everything else, it is also important to mention the objects do not have their qualities by themselves, but that we are the ones who give this quality according to our perception.
Descartes also said, we think because God exists, and God exists because we believe that He exists. You think that everything we see and believe exists, because before saying it, we create a thought, an imagine in your mind, with which the object in question exists, but we have to remember that our thoughts are a construction of what we say are reality and based on your sense, and the sense could trick us.
What's more, if only the world of materialism existed, the way to love wouldn't exist because yes, it starts from falling in love with a beautiful body, then you realize that all bodies are beautiful and you should love them of all of them. But then you realize that they have physical changes. They don't last forever, so you fall in love with the souls because they do last forever. As the perfect idea of beauty existing in the world where the eternal truth exists, the world of ideas.
So, in conclusion, as we can see, each point of view has many solid arguments, ideas, and opinions to present and be heard, bringing to the table numerous perspectives supported by different philosophers and authors. Even if we didn't come to an agreement about our posture as a group, it is completely possible and okay, because at the end, the topic was explained, and we did a deep comparison, as the main goal was to understand the question itself.
So thank you very much. We hope that you enjoyed our debate. Woo!